It's shorter than you think. No think.
The Holy Trinity, Bermuda, Alaskan, and Bridgewater Triangles. Some say even notable deaths. The significance of 3 is undeniable. You are to bear witness to yet another event. We're invited to join your hosts, Krista, Aaron, and Brandy, as they guide you down the rabbit holes of the paranormal and unexplained, striving for answers of this world and beyond. Welcome to Blondes, Booze, and the Woo.
Hey everybody, welcome. Glad everybody's here
Hello.
joining us on this Friday evening. And Brandy, you just told me you were tired.
I am tired. I am tired. Yeah. Well, I had that exciting weekend last weekend, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden it's just kind of like I'm worn out with work, and it's
Yeah.
so hot.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is
the
here.
humidity, the humidity has not even started yet, and I
Yeah.
am like, this is just too hot.
Right.
So,
I get it. Tomorrow we have it's my daughter's baby shower. So after the show tonight, I have to cook potato salad, macaroni salad, and a cheesecake for me. I got a busy night ahead of me. So
exactly.
yeah. So we you're not going to go over to Atchison to McIntyre, you don't think, or?
Well, the thing is that our paranormal group, Haunted Soul Society, they have an event there tomorrow. Tickets are
Yeah.
still available. You can catch them on Eventbrite. But they have enough people going, and that is a long drive for me to do a turnaround and to stay up all night.
Right.
And I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, and we're going to Alabama next weekend. I'm like,
Right.
oh, I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, they have enough people, but if they didn't, I'm going to be there. But
Well, good deal. Yeah, we got a lot coming up, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm doing the baby shower tomorrow, and then I'm chilling the rest of the week because, like you said, we've got Alabama we're speaking at, and then after that, we've got Oklahoma we'll be at, and then I'm taking a family trip and going horseback riding down to Eminence, Missouri, too. So I've got a lot going on myself.
Yeah, there's a ton going on right now. These next couple months are just going to be tough.
Yeah, it is. It most definitely.
I wasn't thinking when I was making my schedule.
No, neither one of us were. It sounded good in the moment. I'm like, hey, Brandy, you want to do this? You want to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I get it. You want to remind everybody what to watch this week, and then we'll get on with the show because I'm excited to get Bryan back here.
Exactly. Monday nights at 8 p.m. Central, you can watch Texas Front Porch with me and Tex. On Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, it's Van Buren Variety with Bob Van Buren. Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central, it's Beyond BMR, of course, with Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central, it's Jason McLean's Questions Everything. On Thursday at 12 p.m. Central, it's Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob and his beautiful co-host Krista. At 8 p.m. Central Thursday evening, of course, it's us, Blondes and Booze. And if you want a little more, you can catch us again on Fridays with Blondes, Booze, and the Woo at 8 p.m. Central. And on Saturday, I got to remember what day it is. And Saturday at 2 p.m. Central, Tex and Danielle Diva drop their next episode of Infamous Minds.
Yep. You got that down so good. And I suck at it. I did it. I had to do it last week twice when you weren't on the show, and I had to do it. I'm like, I definitely don't do it as good as you do.
I just have to remember what day of the week I'm on.
Right. I just miss what show is this?
Yeah. Where am I at? I don't know.
Right. I hear you. I'm going to go ahead and bring Bryan up, and let's just get this thing rolling. Hey there.
Hey,
hello.
What's going on? Thank you for having me back on. And it's really funny because I'm basically doing what you're doing. I don't know what day it is today.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for this, I wouldn't even know it was a Friday. So
I hear you.
Yeah.
I
Me
totally
too.
understand. And you have a busy schedule yourself, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a lot going on. I went back to New York. I'm supposed to be going, and I'm fingers crossed. I'll be on a Bigfoot exploration tomorrow into tomorrow night, early Sunday, and when we come back to our place in New York, there's always issues if you don't use the plumbing. All of a sudden, there's a leak here, a leak there. So I contacted Al, and I'm like, "You're gonna kill me, but I got a plumbing issue, and I may not be able to make it because there's a timing. There's a thing with timing where we have to get in before a certain time in order to stay in. So I'm kind of I came up early just because of this investigation. I mean, actually, the family's going to camp and doing the camp thing, kids and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But my whole premise of being back in New York is to do as much investigating of the woo or whatever as I can, filming it, and then seeing what we can get from it. Maybe get a sizzle reel or something, and that'd be great. So
awesome.
Yeah. So that's where we are.
Well, how is Al doing? We haven't heard from him lately. He been busy?
Al's, I guess he's busy. He's going to be a grandpa, which I always kid him about. He calls him. It's funny. One of these researchers, a mutual friend of ours, Chris Reinhardt, he did a show with Al and I, and called the Squatch Fathers.
Mm-hmm.
So Al just took it and ran. I'm like, but I'm a Squatch Father. No, I'm the Squatch Father. Whatever. And I guess I didn't have my Italian street cred there. So I call him the Grandpa Squatch now. So.
Grandpa Squatch.
Yeah. He's doing his thing. For the most part.
Oh yeah, and I'll tell you what. There's nothing better than being a grandparent. I'm on my third. My third is cooking now. So I have a 8-year-old grandson and she's 7 months old granddaughter, and then one cooking.
One cooking is good. My kids are still young. Thankfully, we started late.
Yeah.
But I don't need grandkids just yet.
Not if your kids are young. You sure don't.
Yeah, give me at least 10 years on the older one and about 20 years on the younger one.
There you go.
But today, and you want to talk about woo in today's society, I mean, that could change it. Like, whoa, back up.
Oh yeah,
most definitely.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's cool. You're gonna have to let us know how your excursion goes tomorrow night.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we post a lot of stuff up, and we were posting on different websites we have. So we have the Bronxville Paranormal Society that Al founded, and I like this, right hand on that one. Then we co-founded New York State UFO Project, New York State Sasquatch Organization, and New York State Dogman Project. Plus, we are also the state directors in New York State for the North American Dogman Project, New York State chapter. So we have a lot of stuff, and we were posting things. And the problem we have in this really weird community is people like to steal your stuff and then pass it off as their own.
Right.
And I'm all for, working with people. This is how we've always been. We always post raw video. When we first started, I said we're going to post the raw footage first because we want everybody that's watching this, and everybody's interested in this. I want you to be a paranormal investigator because you ladies know that when you go in and you review your evidence, you're seeing the same video from 5 different cameras, and it's like you're going to miss stuff. So when we have everybody, like, you go there, hit the raw footage up and say, oh, at 1 minute, at 1 hour, 13 seconds, or whatever, you got something there. It helps me out. I mean, I'm going to go through it with a fine tooth comb anyhow.
Yeah.
But it's like, sometimes it's like kind of editing your own work. Like when you write an essay or whatever at school, you got to give it to somebody else. Otherwise it'd be like, what did you mean by this sentence? The dog ate the cat and the cat car. What were you writing here? You need somebody else. And actually in one of our investigations, Al was doing an interview, and this guy went to our website, Bronxville Paranormal Society, and he looked up the photos we had for this specific investigation. And he discovered in 2 separate photos, one of which is Al's, one is mine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he discovered a Dogman in one of the photos, and then a Bigfoot in another one. And I mean, you can't if you really looked at it, you can't miss it. It's not a blob squatch, you know, like that. Look, there's 7 Dogmen in a tree. I'm like, no, they're not. You can't have 7 of them in it. These things are
Don't forget the 15 Bigfoot in there with the Dogman.
Yes, and they're playing cards with the Loch Ness Monster. So, you know, So, you know, but what was great is you can see it. It looks like, it really does look like, kind of like the Harry and the Hendersons version of it.
Yeah.
And that, you know, the Bigfoot, but it's huge. And then in another photo, you see this definitely canine with the snout up, like sniffing, like they do, with the big ears in the back and the eyes. You know, you get that little eye shine thing, you know, from the camera or whatever it was, and we missed it because we've been watching the same, you know, looking at the same photo too many times. Yeah. And so it's great. That's why we always love, especially Al does stuff solo too. I do stuff solo. I tell him, no, post the raw footage. We post the raw footage. So we're going to hopefully post, you know, hopefully crossing the fingers. If someone's paying attention, we'll get, you know, some good evidence. And, you know, unlike what's been going on in the news lately about Bigfoot, somebody posting, they have 2 heads of the creature. Oh, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. I forgot. I didn't even buy. I'm looking at it. I'm just like, really? Yeah. Like, are you really going to stretch? You really going to do that? Because there's a guy in New York State, Peter something. He's a dog trainer. I mean, I thought originally, you know, he was doing stuff with, what do you call it? Like a parody on it. Yeah. But this guy's like legitly, like he's doing this as being legit, and he talked about frying up a Bigfoot penis and eating it. It was weird, and it's just like no. Yeah, that's sick. Seriously.
Yeah, I guess I didn't see that. I'm glad I didn't.
See that part of
no,
it.
Well, he was out there for a while. He had the head of the Sasquatch. The claim is his father, way back when, was hunting, and they killed 1 or 2. And then he brought it back, and he's been frozen ever since. And he started dissecting the set, you know, cut the head off, and look, this is the hand. And I'm just like, no. Like something's wrong with this guy. Something's very, you know, whatever. The attention, I don't know what they get from the attention, because you guys know you don't make money in this field. It's not like you're going to be a millionaire.
No. You spend money.
No.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I just bought a 360x3 camera. So it's an outdoor camera, but it does 360, 4K. And I bought that, and I had the stick that goes. You know, there's a special stick where you can hold it up, kind of like the selfie stick, but with all the buttons to record or zoom or whatever.
On the bottom,
like 400 here, 300 there, a new FLIR here, you know, and then what you do is you get yourself crazy, and you look at like the higher end stuff, like the real FLIRs that you want, and you start looking at pricing.
Yeah,
I know.
Real quick, let me interrupt you real quick. Yes. I just want to give a shout out to Jared Crazy Indian. Thank you very much for the super sticker.
Awesome for the super sticker. That is awesome.
Yeah, appreciate that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. Keep them coming. See, this is important, because if you're providing really amazing content with amazing guests, amazing subject matter, and they give you a vehicle for you to kind of get something back. And I think that, I always do it. I mean, normally when I do, you'll get like something from me, like a super sticker or a super chat, because I know what it takes to put these events, these podcasts on. I did several of them. And like when you were reeling off, like, I know we got BM, Bigfoot, Michigan, Rob on Thursday with it, we got Texas front, that's a lot of stuff. But you know what? if you don't have the people that say, hey, we support you, like he did,
Mhm.
you know, it's difficult to continue to do what you do. I mean,
Yeah.
we all love this. But,
And honestly, it's another full-time job for us. It really is. And people don't realize that it takes a lot of research and time and finding guests. And yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I talk to Brandy every day, literally, about what,
Yeah.
you know,
who are we going to have on this week? Yeah, you
Right.
know what? It's really difficult. And I got to the point, it was so much better when we were doing the audio podcast
yeah,
because you didn't have to worry about the camera and the graphics and whatever.
right.
It was good that way, but it was really bad because what I would do is I'd record it and then I'd put it up as a video too.
Yeah,
So I have to edit, put my
Mhm.
intro in, you know,
right.
and I never cut anything. The only thing I cut is like, you know, if my kid's like, Mom, where's my underwear? You know,
Right.
I've never heard that
yeah.
before.
You
Never.
know, I mean, it's just I've heard some things on podcasts, and I love. One of the guys did a podcast with. I love him to death, but he was working like 3 jobs, and at one point he was snoring on the podcast,
Oh, wow.
and you could hear him. And I'm trying to text him like, dude, mute yourself.
Well, you know, that's the thing with live. Like I'm sitting in my kitchen doing it, but my family hasn't ate yet, so they're over there working on dinner, and
they're
you know,
looking at Well, I got my youngest right on the other edge of this camera, and
yep,
she
I got a
just came
dog
back.
moving in the crate. It's, you know, it's live, whatever.
But what's great about this is what's great about. I love the fact that it's like this now because then you don't have to like feel like you're not being professional. It's just what the world has become.
Right.
You know, and
Yeah.
it's wonderful. I mean, this is why, like for example, before the show you were talking about, and I'll tell you right now, when I go out, sometimes, you know, I haven't done it in a while because they kind of banned me for saying too many, you know, pro-constitutional things,
Yep.
whatever. You know, so
Right.
you know, you're banned from live for 30 days. I'm like, ooh, you know,
Yeah.
I'll just videotape it and upload it later. You know,
Right.
one of those deals. So like, but I would usually go out, and then you get crazy things when you're filming. You're trying to do a video, you're trying to film at a certain spot or location, and this stuff happens. You
Yeah.
know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just crazy stuff. I mean, I haven't done a ghost investigation in a while, but I've had down. It's really weird because I think Al got a little upset with me going to Florida. I've been trying to get him to come down. There's so many different places. You know, that's where he had his first Bigfoot encounter, down in Davie, which totally is not the rural area he was there. It's all built up and stuff. But there's so many different things going on down there. I mean, like, my non-believing wife was driving her kids to school, you know, in the morning, the bus stop.
Right.
And like, you know, I mean, like, it's like 5:45 in the morning. Like, if I had to go to school at 5:45 in the morning, I would have been like, forget it, I'm dropping out.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And yeah, she sees this huge craft going over, heading towards the Atlantic from where we are. So it's like it's going south eastern.
Yeah.
And she comes back. She goes, and it was like long, and then it kind of like it was like a little bit rounded at the tip, looked like a little bit of a cigar. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. And these things started floating around it, and I'm like, oh, it's a UFO. She goes, no, it wasn't a UFO, but it was this. She just never wants to believe it's a UFO.
Right.
You know, it's literally an alien.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Real quick shout outs to Be Kind. Thank you very much.
Vixen.
And thank you to Vixen Doe. Thank you.
Doe. I know Vixen
all of you all.
Be Kind. Yep. You guys are great. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
We appreciate it for sure.
So your wife is a non-believer.
Yes.
How do you have conversations about these things, or she just ignores you?
She allows me to do what I want to do. And she allows me to investigate these things. And when she has an experience with them, it's like right in front of her face. Like when we were dating this huge UFO. We were dating. We went to work, and she went to work at a sleepaway camp in Connecticut, Waterbury, Connecticut. And And I used to go to a camp in Winstead, which is like 30 minutes north. And it was my birthday weekend. I said, I want to go up there and see some of my friends. So we all went. And my birthday's July 4th. So the whole weekend, it was like 3-day weekend. People were at parties. Nobody was on the road. And it was a perfect night. The sky, perfect stars. And we're going, and she's looking in the car, and I'm doing 70 on this road. I'm like, what's going on? What are you doing? He goes, do you see that? I see what? He goes, it looks like it's a balloon or something. And I look out in the distance, and you see one of those radio antennas. You see them with they're long and tall. They have the red dots on it. Lights to warn people.
Yeah.
I go, it's a radio antenna. And then the radio antenna, which is like this, starts to go like this, and then this, and then this, and I'm like, holy crap, this is getting good, And it starts floating towards us. And I'm moving towards it because this is the way the road's situated. And this thing comes over us, and you can see how ginormous it is. I kid you not, it was
Wow.
The equivalent side would be a football stadium. I say giant stadium because I was in New York at the time. But it's blacker than black. It's almost like gunmetal black on a beautiful sky. If you did not see this in person, you would have totally lost it in the sky.
Yeah.
It blended in perfectly. And the
Wow.
huge thing is just floating over us. And I have the sunroof open, and I'm driving. I'm like, stop the car, Bryan. Stop the car, Bryan. In my head, I'm like, stop the car.
Mm-hmm.
And she's literally hanging out the moonroof going, what is this? And for seriously, it felt like at least 5 minutes worth of time was there. And I mean, I'm trying to navigate the road. I don't want to kill us. And then you look at this thing, and you can see where the craft ended and the stars began.
Wow.
It was ginormous. And we were in this big valley area of this roadway. And then a split second, the other oncoming traffic, I saw a light. So I turned away for a split second. I adjusted, and then I looked up. It was gone. I stopped on the highway. I literally hit the brakes. The car fishtailed, stopped on this 2-lane highway, got out of the car, and was looking. And I'm like, where the hell did this thing go?
Right.
And so I get back in the car. I'm like, oh my God, that's the coolest thing. You had the greatest UFO experience ever. Look at that crash. Oh, it was a weather balloon.
Wow.
Oh no.
Wow. Another shout out to Crystal McGee. Thank you very
Yes.
much. We appreciate that. For sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, so it's a weather balloon for her. And then the best was I woke up a couple years ago. She knows we do UFO stuff, and I woke up with a bloody nose. I don't get bloody noses, but I woke up and I'm like, oh crap. Because I had a high pitch ringing the night before, and I'm like, usually when I get the high pitch ringing, I usually see craft. That's what usually happens. And I don't know. I didn't feel like I was abducted or anything, but I had to, whatever. And she starts making fun of me. We're at my daughter's swimming thing, and I said I got a bloody nose. I had the high pitch thing. Hope nothing happened. Whatever. And she goes, "Ooh, is it the aliens? Are they taking you?" And jokingly, I said, "Don't mock the aliens because they'll come for you next." She goes, "Ooh," joking around, and they make fun of Dad because Dad believes in UFOs. My hand thing got to the next night because she wakes up in the morning, blood on her pillow. She goes, "I got a bloody nose." I said, "Told you not to mess with the fucking aliens, didn't I?" Yep. See. And it wasn't. It was just like she goes, "Oh my God!" She got a little nervous on that one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
But,
that's kind of how my family is. My 2 older biological kids, they know their mom's always been weird, and the younger two they have kind of adapted to it. So the 13-year-old, she likes it. The 11-year-old, she doesn't. So. Yeah, and then my husband, he believes in ghosts, but he doesn't believe in anything else, and he always calls it, go do your freaky shit, as he calls it.
Go do your freaky shit. Well, I always get that because I talk. I mean, you've heard Al talk. I mean, him and I, they always like, can you do an hour, 2 hours? I'm like, yeah, that's like an appetizer for us, And if you get Al and I in the same program, like, buckle up, folks, because we're gonna be here for 4 hours, but it'll be fun, entertaining. So I'm always talking to people, and I find you get a lot of good information from people that you meet in the street and whatever. And we go to a party, and she knows not to say like, listen, just don't talk about about aliens or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, okay. Because I went to my cousin's party, and he works for an airline, and everybody there was either a stewardess or a pilot.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm sitting there going, you don't want me to talk about UFOs with pilots? Like sitting shooting shit. Oh, it must be fun to fly in a plane. You ever see some crazy shit up there?
Right.
Drinking a beer. And I was really, really good. And then someone slipped the fact, I don't know if it was, I think it was one of my daughters goes, my dad investigated the UFO stuff. The guy, oh, well, there was this one time. And you could see her like, looking at me like, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Blame her.
Yep.
Blame that little cute one over there. But I love this stuff because you get such, when you do investigations of like, if you're doing ghost hunting, what you guys do, if you're doing cryptid hunt, I hate calling it hunting because we're not really hunting rabbits here.
Researching.
So if you're doing this, some of the best information doesn't only come from the people that are having like that, well, the walls were bleeding in the bathroom last night. And, it doesn't come from them. It comes from third parties like that you meet at the diner. Well, there was this one time. And then they go into it. and that's the greatest is like, holy crap. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. We it sounds like we all of us freaky people that do this freaky stuff, we lead interesting lives, don't we?
Well, I think not only do we lead interesting lives, but we are connected multiple ways. It's not by, it's not a coincidence that we're talking right now.
Yeah.
It's not a coincidence you went into this. We have been put here purposely. We're supposed to be doing this, and we're supposed to be letting people know or having a vehicle for those people that are in chat and watching this know like what's going on. It's really important.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with it. That's why I talk about all of it. I am not afraid to talk about it.
Yep.
Well, last night on the show, and Krista, I'm gonna throw you right under the bus here. Krista came up with a new word of the week, or month, or year. It could be the word of the year, and we were calling it weirdery.
Weirdery.
Yeah.
Kind of like the F-bomb with the ERY thing, but it's a weirdery.
It is. That's great. That's awesome. I mean, every day it's getting weirder and weirder. Like, I think the last time, I don't know when was the last time we chatted, but I don't know if it was pre or post. I had a heart attack, so I'm trying to remember it was pre or pre-heart
It was
attack?
post. It was after.
Okay.
It was after your heart attack, yeah.
So from that point forward, talk about weird shit. It's just, I get downloads all the time.
Yeah.
I am just, and I mean, I did remote viewing and I had these other things, and little things started happening because you start talking to people who are like super psychic and they have all the clairs. And I said, well, you know what? You can keep Claire to yourself. I don't want Claire.
Keep Claire.
Yeah, I'll just look at whatever. But what no one tells you is you exercise, things start happening. So I literally have a lot of those, if not all of them. I don't really keep tabs on it because the scientific side of me is always, did that just happen? Let me go review this stuff. But now I'm getting downloads and downloads to the point where it's really getting weird because I've only heard this from psychics that we consult for different investigations. We'll talk to our psychic in Arkansas, and she'll be like, well, I was walking down the street the other day, and I was in the supermarket shopping for my boyfriend, and all of a sudden, I had to tell this woman that her husband, who's dead, says he's not really thrilled about the new boyfriend she has. And I'm like, this is what's happening. Like, I'm getting requests. I'm getting the mother of the person who does my hair down in Florida, and she's had some issues, and she's not there. And she's saying she's a really good girl, but she's getting herself in a lot of trouble. You got to tell her, stop doing what she's doing. And I'm like, lady, I just
She's
can't.
grown. I can't tell her.
I can't just go up to him and stuff like that. Now,
Yeah.
if it was a life or death thing, which I've had a couple of those,
Mm-hmm.
as I said, that an ambulance is going by. It's really interesting. That's crazy. I have. I used to like. I don't know if I should tell them. I tell them all the time. I'll give you a perfect example. I have a fraternal brother who is a wonderful guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like, we're super close. He's a fantastic individual. He's retired. He's from England. He used to sell candy to people, big companies. And I'm worried right now because two of my friends that don't normally watch this or said they're going to watch it and chime in. So I'm kind of worried about the comments. So getting back to my friend. So he's a wonderful guy. I know his wife, but I know he has these sons and they're married, but I've never met his sons nor their wives. And I know where one lives and the other lives, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And I had this experience, and a lot of times a lot of times everybody you'll have a dream that is so real that is as if you lived it. And I'm going to let you in on something. If you can remember all the details, it wasn't a dream. You were doing it.
Yeah.
So I got this thing that took place. I knew he had a heart attack or something with his heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I was worried as hell about him. And somehow what happened is I went to a different state where his son and his daughter-in-law is. I said, "How are you doing?" How's he doing? She goes, "He's good. He got there in time, whatever." I said, "Okay, just concerned. I want to make sure he's okay." No problem. And I woke up the next day and I said, "I got to tell him because this is like imminent."
Yeah.
And he retired from selling candy and he actually works now as a crossing guard.
Okay.
Because, he's got his kids who have grandkids and doesn't need the money, So he's giving back. And I think after a certain point, after a certain age, even though if you wanted to sleep, God says, "No, we're not going to let you." You're just up at the crack of dawn. So I went to him at our meeting and I said, "Listen, I don't care if you think I'm crazy. I need you to go to your doctor and I need you to get checked out immediately with your heart.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a bad feeling about what's going to happen. Please, just get it checked out. You've got to really look into this." And I explained to him, I said, "Something happened to your heart. I met your son and your daughter-in-law at this place in New Haven, Connecticut." He's like, And I said, I described the daughter-in-law, blondish hair in a certain shape, and I described the son. And he goes, "I'll tell you what, you are spot on about everybody you just mentioned. I'll go see the doctor, next week." Okay, so he kind of doesn't. I said, "Please, as quick as possible. Go Monday." Okay, he doesn't do it. Monday comes. He's doing the crossing guard stuff, and somebody blows the red light, and there's a kid in the street, and my buddy grabs the kid and pulls him just out of the way before they would have gotten killed.
Wow.
And he doesn't feel well a little bit afterwards, so he goes home and remembers what I said about what's taking place, and he tells his wife, "Take me to the doctor. I got to go now." And he tells her what happened. He blew a stent.
Oh my goodness.
If he didn't go, he would be dead. And he told me, he goes, "I remember exactly what you said." And I went, and we got to take you there right then and there.
Yeah. Wow.
So these are the downloads, and I'm getting them left and right. I'm getting about individuals, and I'm slowly disseminating to this person, to that person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Timmy's caught in the well. Hold on.
Lassie.
Yeah.
Where are you, girl?
Great. But no, I think as you use your gifts, abilities, you have a light bulb on your head and it gets brighter and brighter. And you had a near death experience yourself going through what you did, so that's opening it up to more as well.
Yeah, I mean, the problem, it's really interesting. So a lot of these top psychics that are pretty damn good. People that, like, most of the people that became very, very psychic were really not like nice in person.
Mm-hmm.
And they're real pieces of, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
And then they have a near-death experience, and the next thing you know, they're like, I think James Von Prague was one of them, and there's another guy that was, had his own show and whatever. I mean, like, really not nice people, like criminals. And then they start, they get to the other side, and they're like, okay, we're going to screw you up now. We're changing your life to X, Y, and Z. So I'm not like those guys.
Yeah.
I'm
well, I've heard that too about oh gosh, what was her name? She was had a raspy voice, blonde hair.
Sylvia Brown.
Sylvia Brown. I'd heard that about her as well.
Yeah, like
I don't know if it's true, but
I don't know. For some reason I liked Sylvia Brown. I didn't mind her that much.
You know what, though? I don't think she was 100% legit, and here's my reason why.
I agree with you on that. 100%.
So we had there was a child that went missing back in mid 2000s, and my mother-in-law, she knew the grandma of the boy, and they looked for many years for him. Well, jump forward, it was 4 or 5 years, another boy goes missing. They end up finding the boys living, and a man had kidnapped them and brainwashed them into thinking, that they belonged with him. However, Sylvia Brown went to that area and walked all around it and said that they're dead. Boy's dead. And he was just as alive as you and me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not making excuses for her. I've heard things like this for so many psychics.
Yeah.
You don't believe. And then what they'll do is they'll say, well, technically the kid was dead because the child you lost is no longer the same child that is still alive because of the brainwashing. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, now we're stretching. I mean,
agreed.
Here's the problem currently with some things. So you got to understand something. When you have abilities or when you can see the future and you give a reading to somebody, and I do readings, for people, and the first thing I said is, like, before we start, I need you to understand the future is fluid, and what that means is it can change on a dime.
Yep.
Or they're Aquarius, and it can change on a dime. And if you think I'm going to tell you X, Y, and Z, and you're going to sit on your ass, and X, Y, and Z is going to happen, it doesn't work that way. You have to continue on your path in order for those things to work.
Yeah.
Here's the one caveat. There are people, like, I do this the right way because I don't want to get your show banned or be banned. There are individuals around the world today that are messing around with colliders and other things that are screwing around with our timeline.
Yeah.
And what's happening, I'll give you a perfect example. I gave a reading somebody last July, last April, and then a second one in end of May, June, X, Y, and Z. And it was supposed to happen around the June, July area. And I got a bad feeling around the week of July 4th because I knew something was happening, and they ramped up the CERN again, and they really popped it. I knew what I predicted would not take place. Call it predicted. I'm going to say it's predicted. I mean, I do a reading, but I'm not a psychic like that. I don't profess it. And I knew things were going to be bad because when they ramped up that, they screwed around with timeline. So when you screw around with the timeline, there was like a gap between when things were supposed to happen and not. And I noticed the gap because I started testing things previously. And I said, it's going to be a 3-month window and then it'll take place. Because I got people going, well, you said, and you said, I said, yeah, I said this prior to the CERN ramping up. CERN screwed everything up. I said, give it about 3 months, and that's when it'll start. And true to form, 3 months. So if you have people, I'm not saying this with Sylvia Brown, but if people are messing around with timelines, energies, portals, grids, and the whole thing, that could screw around because there are multiple timelines, and there's one of me on each one of these. And I'm going to go to the right of this one. I'm going to go left this one. This one, it may go down. This one may go up, whatever. But when you screw around with it, they kind of overlap.
Yeah.
And then it needs to correct on the road. So it's like, think of it as a highway when they divide the highway from the trip,
Right.
and you come back together. That's what it's like, but it's screwing people up big time.
Yeah.
Well, do you think that this could be like a glitch in the matrix is what's happening? You know, when you're talking about they go out and then they come back in and collide, do you think that's what's causing that? Because a lot of people are talking about that.
Everybody's talking about it being a matrix, and there's a lot of weird things. Actually, someone I know who's an amazing psychic, and if you want to get somebody on there, get Katie Turner. She's out of Canada. She's been on Paranormal Witness. So I think she was the psychic on there.
Mhm.
She is out of control amazing. She sent me something which I've actually seen. You ever see those videos of the planes flying and they just stop and they're in midair?
I have.
Okay, I've seen that in person.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm driving down this road, and I'm like, you know, I'm hyper aware of things because of what I do, what I look for and investigate, and also the Florida drivers. Got to be honest, guys, you guys suck. you are insane. So you got to be your head on a swivel. And I'm going, and we have what a PBI. I was near PBI. I'm thinking, oh, it's just planes, and this plane was just like there, like the underneath of a plane, you know, and it was like on an angle, and I'm like, oh, it must be landing, and it's still there, and it's still there, and I'm like, I'm fumbling for my phone. I'm like, I'm saying this right now, you know, I wanted to videotape it, and
I can totally relate.
Yeah, there's traffic, and there's like, are you effing kidding me? And you can't. There's no place to pull over. Like if we were in any other state, like Georgia, South Carolina, there'd be like a piece of grass someplace you could pull over. You know, even on the highway, there's like the center median or whatever. And I'm like, no one's gonna believe me. And there it was. And I was like, oh my God. So when you said the Matrix,
wow,
I don't know. I don't know. Here's the thing. The concept of the Matrix being a computer simulated program, we're all in that program, is an interesting concept. And yes, I think there's some, I think a lot of information in Hollywood or entertainment industry is purposely dripped out to let you know there's things really going on that you're not aware of.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's like matrixy as much as it's, again, there are portals and there are these ley lines and certain things taking place currently. Correction, you know, like massive solar ejections, coronal mass ejections, which is sending huge amounts of gamma ray and all this other stuff to the Earth. I think that's messing around with things.
Okay.
Yeah. Real quick shout out to Texas Front Porch. Thank you.
Oh, Texas Front Porch.
We appreciate
you.
Be kind there too. Be kind, DA. Love those people. I love everybody there. Thank you for coming in. So I think that what's happening is if you study the paranormal and you're doing investigations, so you do a lot of ghost hunting or whatever, but I highly recommend you do some things that I do. I study earth changes. I've been doing this because I studied sciences growing up, but I've been studying, I study earthquakes, I study volcanic eruptions, scientific or things out of the Earth's atmosphere, astronomical type of events, because they all have a role in what we experience here.
Right.
Case in point, human resonance. So for a long while, excuse me, the Earth was you will never hear this on any other channel except for like two. and one of the guys was, I think Dutch Sense was one of them. He does volcanoes. He's accurate with earthquakes. Amazing. But one of them was talking about we were being hit from behind. Okay, so the sun is here. Hold on. Here's the sun. There's the Earth. We were getting hit from this side of it. Massive amounts of energy coming our way.
Wow.
How is that happening?
Right.
The sun's on this side. Sorry, I gotta get my camera straight. Sun's over here. That was like last night. This person's with me, and this one. So the sun's here. Now, normally you get hit in this direction, in the direction of where the sun is, right?
Right.
Right. We were getting hit from behind, like to the point where it was messing around with the Schumann frequency, which is the actual vibration frequency of the Earth, how the Earth feels, Gaia.
Wow.
So something out there was really, and then you got to ask yourself, well, what was it, or who was it?
Right.
So I mean, there's couple, if there's at least 400, if not more, species of extraterrestrials, and it's kind of known. So
wow, I don't know, that's some scary stuff though, honestly, and like Be Kind says, how the hell does Earth get hit from that direction?
Exactly my point. So something must have been coming. I'm thinking of craft, because there's a lot of talk within people that research aliens, alien abductions, UFOs, and planet Nibiru. There's a hell of a lot of talk. The Anunnaki are back.
Yeah.
They have traveled back here, and they want what's theirs, which means they consider the planet.
Right.
And they're not happy with us.
Right.
So, I mean, and seeing is, the planet that's coming here is fairly large. That's coming towards us. Planet X, Nibiru, whatever. I mean, these are beings that it took a lot to fight them off. And I'm sure they're coming prepared this time to, if they're going to do battle, then to do it properly,
Wow. Yeah.
So that's what could be hitting us from behind.
Yeah.
Or another civilizations coming, I mean, there's so many different variables here.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the whatever, the ETs on Saturn or Jupiter. I think it's an actual, something. So
some kind of weirdness is going on.
Weirdery.
Yeah.
Weirdery. Yes. You have that a lot.
Yeah.
But,
Be Kind asked, she says, Bryan, what hit the Earth? Gamma?
Gamma rays. Well, I mean, there's a ton of gamma rays. There's a different variety of rays, but X-rays are coming in. Gamma rays are coming in. These coronal mass ejections have been so large that, I mean, the solar winds, solar storms, they literally have you noticed that every once in a while the internet gets screwy and computers don't work, and that's what's affecting them. We're being bombarded. I mean, they came to a point where at one point, I forgot, it was such a big solar storm, it fried all the power lines.
Oh, wow.
They were all fried. So just imagine what it would do to satellites, to, your internet providers, your energy companies. I mean, I think, there's a lot more to it. It's not just hackers. There are effects in Earth, outside Earth, that are doing that. The sun is pretty powerful.
Right.
What it does.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's crazy stuff, man. I'm telling you, this world that we live in is
well, as much exactly. As much trouble as I'm having with my internet and everything else, it just seems like it's happening. It's happening now. I could walk into one room and be roaming, and in the next room I'll have a phone signal and it'd be great, and then I'll be sitting in one spot and then I can have everything, anywhere from no signal to everything to
it drives you absolutely batty, because where I am, where I'm in New York now, I'm literally, I mean, I could see a cell thing, they put them on buildings. I'm like 100 yards from this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why do I have like one bar? Like, what
the hell is going on? That's what I keep saying.
It just doesn't, there's so many different variables there, but who knows what's being sucked into, who's using what. Like, actually, the apartment building I live in right now is built on grounds that they should never have built them on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Not Native American as much as people got, people have gotten killed here and buried, must have been buried on this property. There's a line of property, line of apartments. It's the G line in my building, and every floor, you name the floor, no matter the people changing residents or moving out and new people moving in, all have had a similar problem, and it all relates to either the pancreas or the stomach, and people getting cancer and dying. And you just go and you go down there, and my mother was included in one of those. But everybody, like there's a family that moved in on the 5th floor, not a history of diabetes in anybody. The kids are happy and healthy. Both people have all the kids have diabetes.
Yeah.
Another woman in the floor below them, she didn't smoke a day in her life, was an avid runner, gets lung cancer. No one in the family's ever had it. Another guy got cancer. My mother had, she didn't say it, but we're probably pretty sure it's pancreatic cancer. When I lived in that apartment there, because they bought that one, I had something going on with my stomach. You could have stabbed me in the stomach with knives. I would have felt better. So while I was in there, I remember when we first got the place, I brought my brother's Rottweiler in there. It's a 150-pound dog. And there's nothing in there, and it's warm. It's warm, it's like summertime, and I'm like, ooh, this is great. It's a larger apartment. And the dog goes over, and one spot that I passed, this one corner, I felt it was cold. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Maybe it's just that one spot. And the Rottweiler sat down and looked up and was just staring right at the corner. And I know what that is. Like he's seeing what's there. Right. And then the next thing you know, he cowers, he goes down. Wow. And at that moment, I'm like, there's bad McGumbo in here. If that dog is cowering something, something. So normally cower, right? Right. So,
wow. Yeah. Wow. Well, hey, we're coming up to the 52-minute mark. So we're got to take our 5-minute break. And when we come back, we can keep going down this rabbit hole, or we can hit a bunch of others. So it's up to you.
We can hit everything. You want to talk about Ocala? We'll talk about Ocala.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would like to hear about what happened at the Ocala Bigfoot conference.
Yeah. And thank you, Susie. Thank you.
Did I miss one?
Yeah.
I apologize. Thank you, Susie.
Thank you, Susie.
Real quick before we go to break, thanks to Jared Crazy Indian, Be Kind, Vixen Doe, Crystal McGee, Texas Front Porch, and Susie B. Thank you all.
And Susie B.
I really appreciate everyone.
Heart.
Yes. So anyway, give us 5 minutes, and we'll be right back. We'll see y'all in a few.
Four minutes to go, folks. 4 minutes. Three minutes. We're almost there. 2-minute warning, guys. 2-minute warning. One minute. 1 minute.
Welcome back. Thank you very much, everybody, for sticking with us. Quick
Yep.
shout
Yes.
out to Pammy Smith. She caught us on break there, and we definitely appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank
And
you,
Super
Pammy.
stickers are great.
Yeah, thank you
I-
to Jared Crazy Indian, Be Kind, Vixen Doe, Crystal McGee, Texas Front Porch, Susie B, and Pammy Smith. Thank you all very much. Much appreciated.
One thing that we wanted to mention is that after next week's show, Thursday and Friday night, we will no longer be broadcasting to our Facebook page. So
Yes.
you'll have to come to Blondes and Booze or Texas Front Porch to check us out.
Or on
Um,
Thursday shows on Brunch. He streams to Blondes too. Or,
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
Yep.
But what we wanted to say is that we've had some of our videos taken down from YouTube that we.
And honestly, Brian, Facebook will probably take this one down tonight
I was
too.
I was
That's
going to
okay.
say that.
I'm
It's-
streaming
it's
to Facebook right now, and I've got the next week's 2 shows for Facebook. But after that, I'm not doing it anymore. They're taking. Okay, get this. All of the ghost shows are still up there. That we strictly talk ghost, anything paranormal. But when it comes to cryptid or UFOs, they've been taken down. And I got a bunch of notifications yesterday. They took 12 of our videos down off of Facebook.
There's
You
no
know,
reason for it. Well, they're just commies.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that I checked them out and I looked a little deeper into it, and they have made an agreement with Facebook to do some. I really don't know, to broadcast things over in Saudi Arabia and things like that over there, and so now they have rights to something, and they have rights to nothing we have. Everything that we have is
Yeah.
out there.
Yep.
It's
They said this other company owns 57 seconds of the 12 videos that they've taken down.
I got a strike on YouTube, a copyright strike for a song that was posted. I did this song Happy Birthday, which I wrote.
Yeah.
And I copyrighted it, and someone tried to put. They do that. They'll try to put a copyright thing on you, and I'm like, I wrote the song. I own the copyright.
Right.
Don't kiss my, you know what. And
Right.
they said, oh, after further review. I'm like, yeah, you better get further review, otherwise I'm going to sue your ass. You know.
Right.
mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
no,
the only thing, that we have texted our opening and then the 5-minute break song, and those are texts. He's not going to report us. He's part of us, we're
Right,
part of
no.
him.
that's,
So,
you
I mean,
know,
it's like, that's the only thing. And that's 57 seconds that other company, I guess, says they own. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
And all the artwork is original, so
They do
I
that.
have no
like,
idea.
I use Blue Planet for a bunch of things. I've been using Blue Planet since it started because they were giving you royalty for your stuff. I pay for a couple of them. 99 cents here or $1, whatever it is. And then people started changing their policies. So what was once free or 99 cents, now they want you to buy an extended license, and I'm like, I'm not rebuying something that I already paid for.
Right.
And you know what? Facebook has been so much like Nazis, and they have people that are doing the work, because I know how it operates. I mean, besides paranormal stuff, they worked in business for a while, and they employ a lot of third world and a specific religious group that reps and whatever. And if they find anything that's not a certain thing offensive, which is everything, then they're going to flag it. So they don't get the humor, and the AI never will get the humor. Actually, AI is really dangerous, but that's a totally different ballgame.
Yeah. Well, and that's just what I find interesting. It's the same opening, the same break. Why haven't they taken the ghost shows down? Why is it just when we have people who speak about, the cryptids or the UFOs, those are the only ones taken down? That tells me everything I need to know.
This is a good segue into Colin. I'll tell you how it is. Okay. I can tell you, like, I did a video about a week ago. Okay. Yeah. And I talk a lot of different things, and I talk about different things that are on that controversial line, and that straddle into Project Bluebeam, and this NWO stuff, and how it plays in what's going on in UFO community and some of the cryptid communities and stuff like that. I was making a phone call in my car. We got the CarPlay thing. I'm coming back and I'm making a phone call. I'm talking to somebody, and for a split second, I caught it. On the car, it tells you what the number is, right? It shows you, like, I have a picture of everybody. If I know you, I'll put your picture up so I know who's calling. It's easier to identify. And I'm talking to, I forgot who, I was talking to somebody out of the UK while I'm driving the car. And it's just me and him. And my phone went to conference. It said CONF. And I'm like, what?
Right.
I was being tapped. Someone was listening to my call. And I was, and not prior to that call, maybe 2 days or a week earlier, I may have alluded, I would think, because I do the Three Beards podcast every Wednesday from 8 to 9. And we kind of touch on certain subjects that are a little taboo-y, and every time we started talking about, like, we'll talk about Denver Airport or whatever, the strange stuff there, and different paperclip and blue and all these different things. One of us gets, like, has a tech issue, and we get kicked off.
Yeah.
And it's like, so we got to come back in, and we're like, oh, we must be talking about something because they're listening, right?
Right.
So that's what's going on, and it's like, that's why I'm usually in 30 days worth of Facebook jail, or I had like a 90-day stint once.
That seems where I live. I live there.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's like, dude, I go Facebook jail, and and it's like, don't worry, mention my name, you'll get a good bed. But the best was, this was maybe 3. Yeah, my daughter was 12 at the time. She was playing some game with roadblocks on her phone.
Yeah.
And she's playing with a private game with just her and her friend, and there was fire there, and she's like, yeah, step in the fire and die, whatever. Joking around. So we went to a friend's house, and she's like, I don't know, someone must have hacked my account, I can't get in. So I started investigating, and we're at my wife's friend's place for Halloween. They're all going to go trick-or-treating. And I start looking at her phone, and I'm like, oh my God, she got banned from the roadblocks for like 3 days. She was kicked out. And I go, come here, Dad.
Making me proud.
And it's just like, what are you doing? I'm like, you just got banned like that. I'm so proud of you.
Yep.
My wife's cracking up at the whole thing. But that's what they do. And I got to be honest, Facebook used to be okay. You used to get some people from Facebook, and then they'll come to YouTube. The hell with it. Facebook, I'm sorry, folks. Facebook has gone down dramatically. It's not, you know, they censor. Now people that normally didn't get anything, like they're just posting like innocent stuff, are now getting like,
Right.
they just banned me from commenting. I'm like, you know, like,
Yeah.
well, welcome to the party, pal. You know?
Yeah. Well, I got banned from liking posts because I was told I liked too many people's posts.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
exactly.
scrolling through, you know, and I read it and like it and go on to the next one, you know. Yeah.
Well, it's someone posted something like, isn't it strange? I find it very odd or weird when people like their own posts. So I'm like, well, I do that all the time, you know.
Yeah.
I do. I like my own posts, and then I wrote, I do that all the time. I hit like on my comment back to her. I said, see, I just like myself right there, and I'm going to do it again right here. But it's got to get the ball rolling, you know.
Right.
But yeah, they get you for the stupidest things. You know, this is like the 6 cat video you posted.
Yeah.
You know, but this is what you do. This is what we're, you know, I mean,
Absolutely.
as long as you're not like, you know, threatening to do some harm or whatever, really hurt somebody, like real threats. Not like, you know, I posted something like, well, you know, I'm going to beat the shit out of them later. And then they got me like for violence. And I'm like,
that was, I think that was one of mine. I think it was a word I can't. Yeah, it was burning my bra, and the other one was I was going to burn the house down if a spider, you know, came back up out of the sink, and
So they got me the first time I got it, which was really bizarre, was years ago. I made a T-shirt that said "Make love, nuke France."
Yeah.
and so they said, "Oh, you were threatening France, and you know you were being threatened, so you're banned." And I'm like, first and foremost, there's no way I can threaten a country unless I'm my own country. And the last time I checked, Bryan Land was not incorporated, nor did it exist. That's one. Two, I'm also not a nuclear superpower, so how the hell can I threaten anybody? You know, it was the stupidest thing in the world.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy.
Yeah.
You know, they just don't want the truth out, and it's you know, the guests that we've had that the shows have been taken down are the truth seekers. You know.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know your guest list, and I know what's going on with them. Matter of fact, I'll tell you the reason why I said this correlates to we were talking about Ocala. I went to the Great Florida Bigfoot Conference in Ocala. We were talking about this prior to the show. And what's great about it is I know everybody that's there. You know, I'm friendly. You know, I've tried to do the friend request with David Paulides, but I don't know. I mean,
I think I'm friends with him on Facebook too.
Yeah, but you know, like I don't know. You have to have like a badge or something like that, or you know, cup of Joe, and you know, lean half my ass on a desk and I talk about, you know, crimes or whatever. But,
can you talk about? So I've heard all over Facebook and from several people that I know that were there. There was a quite a heated argument between Jeff Maldrum and David Paulides.
Right. So the last speaker, I guess the top speaker, was David Paulides, and very interesting. So this is a huge arena for horses. It's an equestrian arena. I mean, like you could have a nice concert in there.
Yeah.
Easy, like 5,000-6,000 people, no problem.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's a huge screen up there, and he's, you know, below on the stage talking, and his main concern is you can't videotape this or record this. I'll tell you why later, which he never told anybody why. He's very like, don't videotape it, don't record it. And people would come out with a camera like, I told you, no video. I mean, he was not kidding.
Really?
Oh my God. He was very like in your face. Like I thought he was going to walk off the stage at one point and either punch the guy, take his phone, or just walk, because, you know, they weren't listening to him for whatever reason. So he gives this whole presentation, and he talks about UFOs in connection to cryptids, you know, and he talks about someone who I know, I'm not really good friends with, a couple of my buddies are, Stan Gordon out of Pennsylvania. He did the Kecksburg stuff. Stan's a great guy. I like Stan a lot, but he's pulled back from it, you know, dramatically, but he was one of the forefathers of getting out there and getting information. So, and he's correlated. Now, David has done UFO research prior to doing the Missing 401 and Bigfoot stuff.
Right.
And he's trying to correlate everything because that's what you do as a police officer. You follow the trail and you do it. So he's going on it, and he makes these outrageous claims that he's the only one that has ever done DNA testing. We do DNA testing, and we do, all these samples, and we go out there, we get hair samples, and we come back and do DNA, and we get, fecal matter and whatever. And what he misses is that he is 100% backed by a very wealthy individual who's supporting all his research. Specifically into Bigfoot and stuff, but that's where this has all come from. So you have a sugar daddy out there paying for all your stuff.
Right.
Do you know what it costs to do a DNA test? I mean,
no idea.
DNA test. I mean, you're talking about upwards of $5,000 to $20,000 to really break it down.
Wow.
Okay? So, and that's the old. I mean, I know it's changed. They do the 21andMe thing.
Yeah.
So why they charge you only $200 for it is because when they get your DNA, they're selling it to your insurance companies, your health insurance companies, the police department. Not a good thing to do. So,
right.
Whatever you do. Yeah. Well, if you swab your DNA, if you've done it, make sure you put the dog's name down, like Poodle Rogers.
Right.
Well, Poodles. You're half Cherokee, But so he makes this outrageous claim, and then he makes it on these big slides above your head, Jeff Meldrum never made any of these, didn't do any of the DNA that we've been doing.
Wow.
Right. So, he does this presentation, and he's calling out I'm the greatest, I'm the best there ever was, and then he leaves for a second. Then they have the final. I guess it's everybody there. So this is great. It's Pilates. It is Ron Moorhead, great guy.
Yes,
Jeff Meldrum and Ronnie LeBlanc. And the only thing anybody ever said about Ronnie LeBlanc is who's the guy with the man bun? That's exactly what they said. Okay, that's it. And for all four of those guys, for Pilates, Moorhead, Jeff Meldrum, and Ronnie LeBlanc, there were 4 lines. Pilates had a line that was, the longest line there. You're going to wait at least half an hour to an hour to get to see him. Then it was Meldrum, which was a bit shorter, about a third shorter. And then Moorhead had maybe a quarter of those people. And then Ronnie LeBlanc had 5 people,
wow, going
to him. And so there's the table. It's the show's over basically, and they're sitting there doing questions and answers. So it's Pilates, Moorhead, Meldrum, and Ronnie LeBlanc. And some guy comes up, some kid, and says, and basically defending Meldrum. Why would you say that about Dr. Meldrum? About you're the only one that ever has tested when he's done work, and he's calling Pilates out. Well, Pilates wasn't going to have that. I never said that. When did I say that? I'm sitting there. I'm like, am I taking crazy pills? It was just on the screen, And I'm talking to another researcher, Chris Connor, there, and he goes, I said, dude, Chris, are you filming this? Because this may be worth $10,000 on American Home Video. We're
right.
He just said it. Pilates just called out Meldrum and told basically you're a piece of shit. You don't do anything.
Wow.
Right? And Meldrum, just sat there. He really didn't care. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He was staying in the hotel I was staying in. You can approach, hey, Jeff, how are you doing? Great presentation. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Really nice guy.
Yeah.
So was Moorhead. And Pilates is now backpedaling, and then Meldrum gets involved. Well, I have done DNA, and he takes a shot. He goes, well, frankly, the evidence that has been given has been tested, but it's not significant enough to warrant to do a DNA test. Unlike, David, who's throwing, anything that comes his way, he's going to test.
Yeah.
From a titmouse to, whatever. So he's basically saying you're spinning your wheels doing nothing. And Pleiades was getting back, well, and they started attacking each other. And Meldrum was a lot more reserved, but you could see him start getting a little bit pissed off. Like, look, mother, I am a freaking doctor, PhD. Listen, Flatfoot, don't come at me. And to give Meldrum credit, he does do DNA testing,
right?
And they're all on TV, so they're going to do what they have to do. But he has been doing DNA testing. It's the largest collection of casts for Sasquatch, Bigfoot, even the Yeti. They've tested, everything from dung to hair samples. Matter of fact, what Pleiades pointed out was through Meldrum's DNA testing, they discovered the hair with the medulla being blank and open.
Yeah.
So, I don't think, I really thought those two were going to just start going at each other.
Wow. It got that bad?
Yeah, I really thought, because Meldrum started out really mellow, and then you could see him getting redder and redder, like, I don't know who you think you are. And then Pleiades tried to, well, Jeff and I always, we'll have our issues, but we're professionals here and whatever. Basically, Pleiades got caught.
Yeah.
And he was trying to weasel his way out of it.
Yeah. If they would have got into it, my money's on Meldrum. What about you?
Oh, he had the height on him. I said the same thing. I go like, dude, Meldrum is at least 6'7". As I say, I'm 6'1", and he was a good half foot higher than me at least.
Right.
So I'm thinking he's 6'7", 6'8". I'm like, dude, he's got the reach. It's like a Sasquatch. Pleiades is just this short. Yeah, he went to the academy or whatever, and he was a police officer. But he's got it's really weird. I don't want to pick on him. I'm not Mr. Gorgeous, but he has these really weird eyebrows, and they just point up.
Yeah.
At the end of it, it's just like, I'm like, you should be a lot nicer. Maybe you should have some more fiber in your diet to make you nicer or something.
Like I told you backstage, I had heard that Mr. Pleiades wasn't the nicest person, and I've heard that he wasn't just nice, not nice there. It's before that, and other people have told me that he's been to other things.
So at the hotel I stayed at, it was the same hotel that they sponsored, whatever. It's a Hilton property, and it makes it easier. So there's a lot of these Bigfoot fans that are coming to the shows, and there's a couple of different couples that were there. That this is what they do. They like the subject matter, so they'll go to these conferences. So they make it a weekend. They'll bring the kids. Come on, Billy. Come on. Let's go. Look. Hopefully we can get some, Bigfoot, crap, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so we're outside on the deck. I'm smoking a cigarette outside, and this really nice guy named David comes up. War veteran. He has an issue. I think he's a little bit off because of his PTSD. And he was explaining to me, he goes, we're going there, but Meldrum's there, and let me tell you what he did. And he starts to explain to me that they were at a hotel that he was at one of these conferences, and he's on the line, whatever, and his wife is a diehard fan of this because she loves the Missing 411, and she's like, she just wanted to meet him or whatever. And this is like at the morning breakfast of a hotel. We've all been there. It's a Hilton. Like, what kind of eggs is it? No, not the powdered ones. Get me a banana, whatever. You can't help but not be with each other. So he walks up to him and said, Mr. Pleiades, it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. My wife is a huge fan of yours. Would you mind if when you're finished with your breakfast, if we could, do a picture or something for her?
Yeah.
And he's like, get the hell away from me. I don't do that crap. And he was just like really rude. So I take it from this guy, because of his mental capacity, maybe he was over embellishing. There was another couple that was sitting not that far off, eavesdropping in the conversation. He goes, yeah, same thing happened to me. We were at another conference. He was there. Wow, what a nasty piece of he was. And goes into the whole, this guy doesn't want to know from anybody.
Yeah.
The only person he'll ever talk to on the phone is what's his name from Pennsylvania I just mentioned. Oh God, you know, because Stan Gordon, because he lives. He goes, this is, if you don't know Stan Gordon, you better get on his research. I love you, Stan. I know you may be listening. I think what you did is fantastic. I don't think you're as much in the loop as you could be today. But again, you're getting older, and I understand that, but pass the torch. So, but you know what? To be that nasty for people is not right.
No, it's not, because you know what? It's the people that go to see him at these conferences that got him to where he is, and he needs to respect that.
They get paid.
Appreciate that, and he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
I've been at conferences. I've gotten paid to go to conferences and speak, and I've done them for free. I'm pretty easygoing.
Yeah.
You give me a venue to speak about paranormal, UFO. You want me to speak about? Sure. You know, and you're going to pay me? Sure.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like I said, we said before this, no one's getting rich on this crap.
No.
Okay? The only and I've stated this numerous times, the only reason why I would ever want my own paranormal show, be it for cryptids or UFOs or ghosts, is because if I have my own show, I can go, you know, in this scene, we're definitely going to need that $65,000 FLIR camera.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, back in, I guess it was December, we were approached about doing a TV show, and we talked about it, and we decided against it for several reasons. Number one, the money isn't there, and we work full-time jobs, you know, so there was no way. And number two, you know, we didn't get into this to go on TV. We got into this to educate ourselves and others, you know, so we had no interest in doing it. And honestly, at this point in my life, I still don't want to, you know, my mind, I feel like we made the right decision.
I mean, if you wanted to do like an 8-episode season and you want to pay me like $10,000 to $20,000 an episode, let's talk. You know?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
sure. Yeah.
Let's talk. Can we film it all in like 1 week? Okay, great.
Right.
You know, but it's like there's no money. I mean, like when you get people that appear on TV and you think, oh, they must be getting X, Y, Z. No, they're maybe getting scale, probably less than scale. And scale for television is anywhere from like 600 and change per day, but they're not going to pay you per day, even if you're on 2 days. They're only going to pay you for 1 day. And if you're good, they'll pay you for your stay, so that's a little extra. If you're not good, they won't give you any food. Been on a show like that. Literally eating in front of us, like we were there all freaking day and didn't even offer us a food.
Wow.
Really. And then I've been on other shows where it's like, oh, we're going to go get lunch. We're stopping here. And like, okay, you know, whatever. And they stop McDonald's, whatever. And then, oh, you want, what do you want? You want turkey with this? Here's a list. They go, treat you like royalty. One show I did, and I love the people there. They literally rented me a house on the lake for a week, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, where am I staying? I'm like, oh, you're staying in this house. I'm staying in a lake house.
Yeah.
By myself.
Right.
For a week.
Right.
And I'm like, had I known, I'd be like, dude, Al, bring the guitars and the amps. Let's go now.
Yeah.
We would be jamming. You know, but they were filming there. But they're nice that way. But Pallades, let me tell you something. I saw his Missing 401, the UFO one, which was very interesting. But you don't have to be that nasty. You know, I mean, I understand we're all looking for answers to our questions. Is Bigfoot Sasquatch real? He is. But I'm going to tell you straight up, it's a weird experience. But yeah, I've seen him. I've had him throw stuff at me, like boulders and whatever. Been, inches from it. But you want to, like, how'd you get here? Why are you here? Do you travel interdimensionally? What do you do with your family? Where's your, you want these questions and these answers. Yeah. Well, yeah, I was going to get to that, John Steed. So one of the problems Pallades has is he did get death threats. So he carries 24/7. And as a former law enforcement officer, I highly recommend you carry 24/7. So he did get death threats. His family got threatened too. He even told us when he was at that conference at Alcala, there was a government person there from the military or defense department and made his presence known. Went up to him, shook his hand, took a picture. He goes, by the way, I work, and purposely let him know that we're here.
Wow.
So the government was very much aware of what he's been doing and the research. And let me tell you, I would be very unnerved if everywhere I went, I had to worry about, like, is the government going to try to take me out?
Sure.
Take my family out?
Sure.
Type of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, but still, you don't really have to be that much of an asshole.
Right. Exactly.
Honestly, yes.
Yeah, that would have definitely been the conference to go to.
It was, you know what, like I really, it was an interesting conference. I liked it. I got to meet a couple of people that, like Bigfoot Anon was there. I don't know if you know Connor.
Yeah.
He's there, I didn't get to say hello to Stacy Brown, but I know a bunch of the people that are there.
Mm-hmm.
Some people know a lot of people knew who I was. Like, are you speaking? I'm like, no, that wasn't asked, but anytime.
Yeah.
And I may be doing something with it next year. Don't know, but because I'd love to speak. I mean, I'd love to present.
Yeah.
It'd be great. But it's nice to see people that you have very good conversations with online.
Yeah.
And meet them in person, and then
Yes.
The energy is like, it's great. It's like and I walked over to some people, and they're in the middle of chatting with some of the fans, and they come over to give you a hug, and then people are like, who the hell is that? And I'm like, and then like a couple people, oh, that's Bryan Bowden. He does research and blah blah with UFO.
Right.
Like, oh, I mean, which is kind of interesting because I don't think of myself as a celebrity at all or whatever. I just do what I do, And
right.
There was one time in Florida, I went into a liquor store because I always check for new rums. I like rum, folks. Okay, love rum. If you drink enough rum, you try to board the other house as a pirate, but that's a totally different story. Let's go take that house. Dad's drinking rum again.
That's a different movie.
Yeah. Movie. Hey, you go. So I go into this brand new liquor store because usually they have some stuff, and I find something unusual, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try this. And it's these two young kids that are working there, and they're going back and forth, and they're talking about whatever, like, well, what happens if Superman came out, whatever, and they're watching some stuff on TV. So that was the first thing. Then I go back, buy the rum I get. It's really good, and I tell my friend, and I said, do you want me to get you some? He goes, yeah. So I go back the next day, and the kids are there, and I just walked into the store midday. I got my sandwiches at Jersey Mike's, go in there to get the extra rum, and I hear what's playing on the TV, and it's Alien Invasion Hudson Valley UFO. I'm in that.
Right.
And they're at the scene, and they're like, and they're at the scene where they're interviewing me in the opening, whatever. And I go up to the counter, and I'm not even paying attention. I'm like, I want to get it because my wife's like, get back as soon as possible to the hotel. I'm like, sure, no problem. So the kid's there. Okay, it's going to be $3.95. He looks up, he looks down, looks up, looks down. He goes, yo, Kyle, get over here quick. I'm like, oh, shit. And the guy comes in and he goes, look. And they look up and they're like, that's you, right? And I'm like, yeah. So they made me talk for about like 45 minutes there about UFOs and what went on.
Right.
So other than that, it's we do it. I want information. I want knowledge. I've tested a couple of things when I've done some of those shows, and they've worked. And I like testing because even though you have people, camera guys there filming, they don't all believe in what you're doing.
Right. Yep.
It's a paycheck, It's so. And what I love when you have people there that aren't, it's kind of like we going on a Bigfoot. When we go on an expedition for Bigfoot, we like to take certain people with us as well, because especially women, because women, you smell good, you look good, and throughout history, if there's a male something, they're going to be attracted to you. We do this within reason, but yeah, there is certain things that relate to why they're there, because, and we like that action, that interaction. We're not endangering anybody. But we want to know the difference between it's a couple of guys in the woods versus who's that stuff coming down, Hi, I'm Bigfoot. How are you? I don't live with my family anymore.
Right. Right.
Like, how you doing?
Exactly.
You doing? You know,
How you doing?
you got to say it right, Brandy.
I can't. You can't say it when you're smiling. You just can't say it right.
Yeah, it's just like, but what happens is, it does attract, sometimes it brings the Sasquatch a little bit closer because they can smell the difference, and they're like, ooh, I mean, I think most men can smell the difference. They're like, most wars are fought over women. So, like, just think about it. So, but it works out great. But it's all about answers. This is why we do what we do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, Meldrum, I would have taken Meldrum in that fight.
Yeah. My goal, I want to get to Florida next year. So I do hope they do it again. And
they're definitely going to do it again. I just hope that they get more, I was hoping for more vendors. I love going there and seeing a lot of vendors, and you meet people.
Right.
And I think it's weird. It's a weird economy, and it's harder to get people. And it was pretty well done. They didn't have enough of the official shirts, so they'll learn from next year. But yeah, we'll see you there. I'll be there. Maybe I'll be speaking. I don't know. Maybe I'll put a presentation together.
Yeah. Well, I also heard the only really bad complaint that I heard, that like the food or something, they had only one food vendor and the food lines were awful. That was the only bad thing I heard about it.
Well, that's the truth. There is a food vendor there. It was one of them, and like it was like it was like the father took his son, like this will teach you never to mess with your mom again or whatever. And the son's like running around, and it was terrible. Like, I wish they had ample enough space to put food vendors outside, like trucks or something like that.
Right.
But I don't know if this equestrian world would allow it. I mean, if I had this, I would make a huge conference in that area.
Yeah.
And I would have Bigfoot in one tent. I'd have ghost hunting in another tent. I'd have like the Dogman in another tent, and then the New Agers and another. Yeah. I mean, these are huge buildings.
Yeah.
And
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd make like a Woodstock for the paranormal.
Oh yeah, they're huge.
Right. Yeah.
Don't drink the blue Bigfoot acid. It's bad, everybody. The blue Bigfoot acid.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I would like to. I like I said, Nana Bosch, she's a friend of Brandy and I, and I'd like to go down there and do a little researching with her. Brandy, the only problem is Brandy doesn't like to drive over 8 hours, so I'm gonna have to twist her arm, but I might be able to do that.
8 hours.
Yeah.
Let me explain though. They make me drive the 8 hours, and then I have to stay up all night, and then I have to drive another wherever I'm going. So that's
my recommendation is to drive the 8 hours. Don't do anything the next day.
Yeah.
Relax, hang out by the pool. It's going to be really nice. They got a really nice pool at the Hilton over there. It's a little bit. It's like a couple of miles, before El Cabo.
Yeah.
And go hang out there for a bit, then go out. I'll give you an example. I'm going to be going to the Gettysburg Bash. Pam and Steve
lucky.
They put on a great thing. Hopefully, I got to call Pam up, see if they got my stuff. I'm going to be hopefully putting on with Al, the Grandpa Squatch Santa Riga. We're going to do a
Grandpa Squatch.
We're going to do an active intelligent encounter, which is basically CE5, where we're going to try to call in UFOs into the parking lot area where the hotel is in Gettysburg on Saturday night.
Wow, very cool.
And we're going to try it. I mean, hopefully it works. Depends. Yeah. I mean, it's probably going to be a lot of drunk para people, that may be paralyzed at the end of the night with the drinking going on. But I mean, it's a perfect spot for it, and so we're going to try to do that.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe you could do that with Dr. Stephen Greer. Maybe have a big meditation circle and bring him in.
Dr. Stephen Greer, not a fan. I'm not part of the cult of Greer, but
You're not the
Because
only person who said that.
No.
It's a cult. I mean, when I do meditate,
Hmm.
I personally when I do remote view, I technically meditate, and
Mhm.
if I'm having a hard time because if you have kids or something they do something stupid, you kind of like I gotta focus, and you can't. So I put on headphones that use binaural beats, and
Yeah.
I try to calm down that way. I don't like guided meditation, and when we started doing it locally with a couple people here in a UFO group, everybody was Dr. Greer, and somebody paid like $500 to $400 for his CE5 app or whatever it is.
That's what yeah.
And he
Mhm.
guides you in the meditation, and I just can't stand him talking. I try to get him on our show, right? And his person that's in charge sent me, I shit you not, a 50-page document filled with questions and requirements, like what are you gonna do for Stephen Greer? What's your pay? What's your social venues? Write them all down. And my response was, since I don't get paid, he doesn't get paid. But I'm offering a vehicle for him to talk about unacknowledged or whatever the hell the thing he was promoting at that point.
Mhm.
And at that point, I'm like, I'm done with you. He's not significant enough anymore in the UFO community because they jump, there are still people who believe he's God's gift to whatever, but he plays no role, in my opinion, of what's going on. And his selling pitch has been like debunked.
Yeah. I've heard
Yeah.
either you love him or you dislike him.
Yeah. From what I see in the reaction I get from people, because it's okay not to like people, and community, certain people I'm not a fan of. But his people are so adamant about him, and they stand up for him and whatever. It's like talking to a Mooney, or a cult member. And that's why I call it the cult of Greer, because they will defend David Koresh to the end of the earth. And that's, and we know how Heaven's Gate ended, and we know how, I mean, no, you shouldn't have to, I don't want to make money. If you just send me $1. Well, if you have, 10 million people sending you $1,
right?
$10 million.
Right.
Yes.
It's like those preachers you get on TV. Fill the coffers, people.
Yeah, absolutely. That's crazy.
So I just want answers and not have to be bogged down by what am I going to do for you? I'm allowing you to talk to me. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there like that, yeah.
There's so much going on, and I love the cryptid side of things more so than the ghosty side. First of all, I don't do demons or anything demonic. It's way above my pay grade. I've got young kids. I don't need to bring that home.
Right.
So, and it's not my, I'm not a warrior for that. We have the warriors of St. Michael that can handle it. Father Bob can handle it. This is what they're built for. Sean Whittington or whatever. You're like, Sean, there's a demon. Bob, you want to deal with? Yeah, okay, here you go. Because I got to protect myself at all times.
Sure.
Yeah, so, but there's so much stuff cryptid wise and how it blends into the UFO end of it too. And that I've got my hands filled with, I need answers to questions. And then once you get an answer, like when you go out, if as an investigator, you should have about 10 different hypotheses going at once, right?
Yeah.
Something like, well, are ghosts energy? If it's not energy, then what can it be? And
right.
Put it out, boom, boom, boom. Then when you do these tests and stuff, hopefully you get something, or maybe hopefully you get an intelligent response where you can have a dialogue with them.
Yeah.
Right. And I've seen that, which is really interesting through the spirit boxes and stuff like that, which is great. And then you can check off your answers and stuff like that. But, this is where my time is. I don't need, I don't. Getting back to the Greer stuff, I can't just be there supporting this one guy.
Yeah.
that's not answering any of my questions. If you're not even remotely coming close to answering them, or you have to charge me to, no, I don't need to.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Here's the thing. We've been, I've been doing the paranormal stuff for many, many years, as has Brandy, and we're new on the cryptid side. And I'll tell you what, how new we are. Like, we go out in the woods and we look at in front of us, but we never look up. We always forget. We're like, well, shit, why didn't we look up? We were supposed to look up too. So that tells you how newbie we are doing this out there.
Yeah, we definitely get caught up on what's in front of us, but we're not looking up to see what's above us. Yeah.
It depends on where you are. Like thankfully in Florida, like I was telling you guys beforehand, and I'll tell everybody now, there's a spot just north of me, and it gets to a point. There's a whole shooting range up there, which is amazing, but it borders like part of the Everglades, a huge swampy area. And the minute I drove down this long, desolate road, and it's just swampy on both sides of you, I'm like, this is. You can see the spots coming in here. Like all the telltale signs there. There's trees knocked over, there's teepees. It's not natural, not even remotely close. So I said, one night I'm bored, my kids sleep, and I go out there and I drive out. And I'm driving and I park the car and I shut the lights off from the car and I'm listening. I just listen. And then, of course, because you're removed from the city far enough, so there's no light pollution. So I do look up.
Yeah.
And I'm there really primarily because in the state of Florida, there's a huge amount of UFO sightings lately. A lot of them. So it's really important. I want to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And that better not be a Bud Light. Sorry.
No. I normally don't drink 2 sodas, but it's just I'm listening and drinking so much.
We're all good. No,
it's all good.
So,
it's a soda.
So I'm there and I'm looking up, and of course I see certain things. I see this triangle. It's 3 dots. It looks like a triangle and it's moving. And I have a couple apps, and I know that that's a Navy spy satellite. It's 3 of them, and they go through. And I'm like, okay, that's a spy satellite. But then they see some other things that are just way too high up. Like, ooh, that's interesting. And as I'm doing this was about almost 3 weeks ago. I was there, and I hear something moving in the woods. That's like where I am. And something sounds like it's going through those woods and just knocking big trees over.
Wow.
I just had that. Yes, I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
And you get the crack. You get the first crack, like someone's snapping a branch. And it's in the distance. And then you get another crack. And I'm looking up and I'm like, okay, I'm paying attention to both of these and I'm waiting. And the next thing you get is almost like, and I was saying, it's not big. It wasn't a Bigfoot anything. It was literally like a wolf howl, like really like, oh. And I'm like, that's a Dogman. And what a Dogman is, for anybody that doesn't know, is a bipedal werewolf, lichen. And it doesn't transform into the light. It doesn't transform. Right. If you've ever seen Van Helsing, it's like that. It's American Werewolf in London. And I'm like, and then the next thing I do, I look down and I go, I didn't bring anything with me. Carrying purposes, protection. So I started hearing this thing moving a little bit closer. I am the only one for miles, and I'm like, it's time to go. Because the hair comes up, I get the goose pimples. And when I get the goose pimples, I know things are going to get real. Yeah. And we'll have an interaction. Like that's one of my outward signs and whatever. And I'm like, you got to go.
Yeah.
And I just left. Let me tell you, there's a lot of people in chat that are like, well, I would have ran right up. No. Right. If you haven't seen one of these things up close in person, you're not running out there like, Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator. It ain't working.
No.
Right.
Come on, let's do it. No. This thing is, if it's putting down trees, and you know
Yeah.
that sound. Anything that's taking a tree down,
You don't want to come face to face with.
no, not really. No,
Mm-mm. Yeah,
because if it's pissed, you're really screwed.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You have a question here. Let me
Sure.
bring that up. You actually have a couple questions. I'm going to bring that up. First one, Job asked, when are you having workshops in New York City?
I was talking to Al about something like that, maybe doing something in New York City this summer. So what we'll do is, if you pay attention or subscribe to the New York State UFO project, and we also do Bronx Paranormal Society, we'll post something about possibly doing something in New York City.
Awesome.
The problem we have in New York City right now, I've been out of it for a year, but a lot of people have vacated that city. So it may not be the smartest or safest place to go, but we'll do it within reason so that you can access it through mass transit. Let's put it that way.
Awesome.
Without killing yourself for 8 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
Titan asks, Brian, do you suppose that the government's new disclosures of UFOs will do more harm than good to the UFO community? Great question.
That is a fantastic question. So I don't care what the government has to say. They're not disclosing anything.
That's
whatsoever.
what I said.
Okay.
That's what I said.
I will tell you. Sorry, that was my daughter with her hands.
Oh, it's all good.
So this is a dog and pony show for you, for the general public.
Yeah.
And I really, what I worry about is them. I didn't think it would ever happen until recently with all these different strange balloons flying in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
I'm concerned about Project Bloombeam, which is a fake alien invasion, war, conflict, just to get you to get a one world government. I'm not going to go into the full details. Look up Project Bloombeam. And I think this whole disclosure thing is, and publicly doing so, is to set the precedent to get you used to the fact that we have aliens. We don't know what they'll do. They may attack us. We can't control it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Independence Day.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, disclosure has already taken place. It took place in 1977 when Steven Spielberg released Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah.
And the man who was in charge of Project Blue Book, the guy told to debunk the alien presence and agenda, who couldn't, Dr. Alan J. Hynek, was in that movie. He didn't have to say a damn thing. But it was the last scene when the craft comes down, the aliens come out, and he takes his pipe out of his mouth, and they zoom in that camera to him. There's your disclosure. Everything that took place there has been happening with people on Earth since that, from the 50s.
Yeah.
That's disclosure. The only people that really, truly want disclosure are the I told you so people.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that have been ridiculed their entire life.
Yeah.
About, oh, you believe in UFOs, where's your tinfoil hat? They want that one moment in their life. I told you so. I told you they're real. The true disclosure, besides the close encounters, disclosure will be decided by the variety of different alien races that are here. When they want to, if they want to. They don't care about the governments on this planet. They don't give a damn about it. So I think it's going to hurt everybody.
Right.
In the end.
Next question, Brian. In your opinion, where do you ultimately see UFO involvement with humans evolving? Are they here to help or harm?
So my opinion of this is simple. There are select races of aliens, species, races, whatever you want to call it, species. I don't want to, because when you get into races, then this can connotate you, but there's species of aliens that are here not to help us. They want to take what they want to take.
Yeah.
And that would be on the reptilian side. Reptilians and insectoids. They're not the nicest.
Right.
There are others here, and there are hundreds of different species between extraterrestrials, not of this earth, interdimensionals, and then subterranean type of beings that were extraterrestrials. I thoroughly believe that in the end, if we kind of did a little bit more of what they were wanting us to do, like, protect the earth and mankind, be nicer, whatever, that would be a benefit to everybody. Okay, you're not doing anything global warming wise. Global warming is BS. Okay, just take one geology class, Geology 101 in college, and you'll understand it's BS. This is part of an Earth cycle. You're not going to stop it.
Right.
They are here. They need our DNA. Our DNA is like the base foundation to building a house. And they're here to help themselves and help to rebuild their race of species, or their species that have been, extinct for a while, or that they really did stupid things. So they're trying to let us know technically about their mistakes, so we don't repeat their mistakes. But I think we're repeating them, and purposely so. There's something very interesting that took place in the last couple of years. There's something very interesting.
Yeah.
There are children being born with black eyes. Dead black eyes. And someone has put forth the notion that this is because some of the Greys that have come here have said, we were once you.
Wow.
And they've evolved into this. And it's an interesting theory that this may be the start of that. But there are different types of Greys. There's tall Greys and the small Greys. The small Greys are extraterrestrial biological entities.
Yeah.
So they're like clones. But I mean, I think eventually if we smarten up, it could help us out.
Yeah.
But we have the ability as people to stand up to these power people and tell them, no, we're not going to do that. No, you're not going to do that either. No, we're not going to wage war anymore. No, we don't need that crap. Whatever. I'm for an offense and a defense. So that's where I am. But we could, there's good ways that we could help ourselves out while helping the planet, and no one has to lose anything, and no one has to lose a job, and people feel like they can do things with it,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes total sense. Makes total sense to me. I don't know. I've made it known before in other shows that honestly, aliens and UFOs scare me. Give me a ghost any day. Give me even a Dogman, from a safe distance. Aliens scare me.
Well, they should. They have abilities you don't have yet.
Yeah.
They're a higher developed beings. We have the ability to do that, but we're not doing it. And what's really scary is that the smaller Greys, the 3-footers, the 4-footers, the real little ones, that are the worker bees that go get the subjects and pull them through the walls, whatever, they got about an IQ of an 80, 80. They're the ones crashing crafts. They're not the smartest bulb in the bunch.
Right.
But there are others that are smarter. But the problem with the extraterrestrial question versus humans is we have emotions. It's not just black or white. There's that gray area of emotion.
Yeah.
Sometimes, look, the guy, did a crime. This is the third time he did it. Three's, we put him to death. But you know what? It wasn't really, he was trying to feed his family in the crime. Whereas the black and white would be just kill him. Type of thing. So some of these extraterrestrials they don't have that emotional component. So when I interview and I talk to people who have been multiple abductees, a lot of them are women, and they've had children. They know they have children with inseminated, whatever, and a couple of them have remembered points where they were in the craft and they were given the child, which looks like a smaller gray version or whatever, and it does look like a child, and the extraterrestrials are monitoring their reaction to it.
Yeah.
To try to understand the emotional component. This is where This is why AI will never ever work. There's no emotional component to it.
Mm-hmm.
Emotion is very important.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, that could be the difference between an entire area of a country being nuked versus, okay, just send the helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
Big difference.
Right.
Because, you know, isn't it interesting how some presidents go in, they got perfect hair, when they come out, they're all gray, because they're making, some of these people are making decisions to kill hundreds of thousands of people in order to sell millions. That's a lot to live with. So the extraterrestrials, they don't have that component. It's like, we need it, we get it, we want it, we do.
Yeah.
You know, it's, or Ariana Grande, I want it, I like it, I need it, you know, whatever. You know,
Right.
my daughter's listening to recently. So it's, you know, that's the problem with the whole extraterrestrial thing. And it's really sucks as someone who's, if you're an experiencer or you have constant visitations. I have a woman up in upstate New York that has a property that's basically Skinwalker Ranch of upstate New York.
Mm-hmm.
Sent me some videos, sent me some pictures, and in the videos, you can't miss it. I really wish I could show this. There is a tall gray in there peeking through a tractor, leaning its head in, and looking at the camera, and looking down and peeking and tilting its head, and you can't miss it.
Yeah. Wow.
And she's like, well, you need to tell them to go away. And I'm like, lady, I don't tell them anything.
No.
You know, I can't tell them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's many places, you know, they're popping up all over, or we're just now hearing about them.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a whole lot of these Skinwalker ranches everywhere.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just coming to light now.
We have one here in Missouri. They call it Marley Woods.
Yeah.
You have the Haboshku Forest is basically like a Skinwalker Ranch. You know, there's that. I've got the guys in Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
They have ETs. They come into the house all the time. I've got the name. Wow. The ghost hunter guys were there. I've got Starlight,
I saw that episode. I did see that episode.
I think it's something Starlight Ranch.
Yeah.
But you know, this has been here forever. This is why certain things were built in certain areas. This is why the ley lines crisscross.
Yeah.
So it's just people, you know, back in the day, like before all this computer stuff, you know, before you've got mail, you know, there was bulletin boards, people just talked, you know, chatted with each other a little bit. Now we are so connected, which is a good thing and a bad thing. It's good because now we can get access to certain things, but it's bad because sometimes you just want your private space. You don't want to be connected all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Totally understand that. We are coming up on the 2-hour mark.
Gosh, it doesn't seem like that.
No.
Guess what, Brian? That just means another show. I did just.
Well, I'll tell
continuation.
You what, I got
part
a great
3
idea for the next show. Why don't we try to do remote viewing with everybody, including your audience?
That would be great.
I would love that. So, absolutely.
We'll do remote viewing. Everybody will get paper and pen, and then I'll pick a couple of targets, and then I'll hold the target up so you can't see it. It'll be in an envelope or something, whatever the target is. It could be a word, it could be an image, whatever. And then we'll go through the whole process of how you remote view.
Absolutely. I think that sounds great. I will reach out to you over the weekend and we'll set a date.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
It would. It would. That just sounds interesting. Yes.
Most definitely. Real quick, I want to thank everybody. Jared Crazy Indian, Be Kind, Vixen Doe, Crystal McGee, Texas Front Porch, Susie B, and Pammy Smith. Thank you all again for your great donations. It's definitely appreciated. And thank you to everybody who tuned in and is watching and continues to watch. Be sure to like and subscribe. Hit Texas Front Porch side also. Bigfoot Michigan Rob, Jason McLean questions everything. Bob Van Buren, the Van Buren Variety Show. Hit us all, please, and subscribe and like us all. We'd appreciate it. So we will see everybody. When will we see everybody? Oh, next week we have 2.
We won't.
We won't see you guys live for a couple weeks. 2 weeks.
I will see everybody on Monday.
Yeah. But as far as this particular show.
No, Blondes and Booze will not be on next week.
Well, we will be on, just pre-records.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I keep forgetting that.
Yeah, not live.
Yes,
But we
we're not
appreciate
live.
everybody. Yeah, tuning in and catch us, and we will definitely reach out to you again, Bryan, for sure.
My
I will
pleasure.
holler at you over the weekend.
You got it. Thank you again for having me on,
Yes,
everybody.
thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Pleasure.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.